Dear students, welcome back to your English class. I am happy to know you are safe at home. This is the second session of the chapter George's Secret Key to the Universe. In the first session of it, we mainly discussed about the characters and background of the story, as well as George's encounter with the supercomputer Cosmos. Today, we are going to learn about George's incredible experience of universe through Cosmos after the oath-taking scene. So, dear students, let us continue.
Eric clapped. Annie burst an empty crisp packet. Cosmos flashed a rainbow of bright colors across his screen. "Well done, George," said Eric. "Cosmos will now show us how a star is born,"
Welcome
said Cosmos, playing a little computerized fanfare.
to the universe.
The room was getting darker and darker. "Come and sit here, George," called Annie, who had already settled herself on the big, comfy sofa. George sat down next to her, and after a few seconds, he saw a tiny beam of very bright white light. It came directly from Cosmos's screen. The beam shot out into the middle of the room, where it wavered for a second before it began to sketch a shape in the air. "But that looks like a..." George began to speak. "A window," said Eric proudly. "Cosmos has made us a window on the universe. Watch closely."
Friends, here the narrator speaks what happens after the oath-taking scene. When George took the oath, Eric and Annie applauded him. Cosmos also appreciated him by flashing rainbow colors across the screen. Then, Annie and George settled themselves on a comfortable sofa to see the evolution of a star to the screen of Cosmos. By playing a loud short piece of mechanical background music, Cosmos welcomed George. For George, it was like watching a movie in a theater. The room was getting darker and darker. After a few seconds, a tiny beam of bright light shot out into the air and stretched into a window. Cosmos made a window to the universe, beyond which was the outer space.
The beam of light disappeared, leaving the window it had drawn in the middle of Eric's sitting room hanging in mid-air. It now looked exactly like a real window. It had a big sheet of glass in the pane and a metal frame. Beyond it, there was a view. And that view was not of Eric's house, or of any house, road, or town, or anywhere else that George had ever seen before. Instead, through the window, George could see an incredible, vast darkness peppered with what looked like tiny bright stars. He started to try and count them.
George,
Said Cosmos in his mechanical voice.
there are billions and billions of stars in the universe. New stars are created all the time. They are born in giant clouds of dust and gas. I am going to show you how it happens.
"How long does it take for a star to be born?" George asked.
Tens of millions of years.
Replied Cosmos.
I hope you are not in a hurry.
"Tut tut," said Eric, sitting cross-legged on the floor beside the sofa. "Don't worry, George. I've speeded it up quite a lot. You'll still get home for dinner."
Friends, here what we come to know is about the window that Cosmos created to provide George a hair-splitting experience of the universe. The window Cosmos created on a screen was with a large pane of glass and a metal frame. It looked exactly like a real window, and beyond it there was a view of an incredible vast darkness filled with many stars. George tried to count the stars. Realizing his futile attempt, Cosmos spoke up in his mechanical voice and he said that there are billions and billions of stars in the universe and new ones are created all the time. They are born in enormous clouds of dust and gas. When Cosmos was about to show how a star is born, George interrupted asking about the time period of a star to be born. To his question, Cosmos replied that they take tens of millions of years. Meanwhile, Eric speeded up the function of Cosmos a bit, as he felt Cosmos was moving very slowly. He also assured George that he would get home in time.
George noticed something about the view through the window onto outer space. Not all of it was covered with little stars. In the bottom corner of the window, he saw a patch of total darkness, a place where not a single star shone. "What's happening there?" he pointed. "Let's have a look, shall we?" said Eric. He pressed a button on a remote control, and the view through the window seemed to zoom towards the dark patch. As they got closer, George realized that an enormous cloud was hovering in that spot. The window kept moving forward until they were right inside the cloud itself, and George could see it was made of gas and dust, just as Cosmos had said. "What is it?" he asked. "And where is it?" "It's a huge cloud in outer space, much bigger than the ones in the sky," replied Eric. "Made up of tiny, tiny particles which are all floating around inside it. There are so many of these particles that the cloud is enormous. It's so big that you could put millions and millions of Earths inside it. From this cloud, many stars will be born."
Friends, here in this paragraph, George is witnessing what Cosmos has said about cloud. George noticed a patch of total darkness in the bottom corner of the window. There was not a single star seen there. George became curious to know what was happening there and asked for a closer look. Using his remote control, Eric zoomed towards the dark patch and explained that it is a huge cloud where stars are born. The huge cloud that George saw was bigger than what one could imagine and able to carry millions and millions of Earths inside it. Dear friends, here I summarize what we have learned today. Once George took the oath of the scientist, Cosmos welcomed him to the journey to the universe. Cosmos created a real-like window through which George could see millions of stars in the vast darkness, as well as enormous clouds where stars are born. Dear students, I hope you enjoyed today's session. Let's call for the day. Thank you.